You want to talk about the weather? We'll talk about the weather. It ain't pretty out there. You want to talk about earnings? We'll talk about an ultimate disaster report. Well, the report wasn't bad, but the guidance. We'll talk crypto at 8:35 with Louis Sykes. We'll get ready for next week. We got a big week. We got 5 of the mega cap 7 reporting within 48 hours. Are you guys ready for that? We will be on the Stock Trader Network pre-market prep. Let's get it started.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
All right. Good morning, traders and investors. Let's get it started. We're starting out in the red here by 6.5 handles. Had a little rally overnight, but we're giving it back. Struggling to go green on the week. We have Bitcoin futures just flat here, 89,300. Dollar down a few ticks. Gold and silver, they're still rallying here. SLV over $90. That's 3.5%. GLD up 0.5% for 453.77. TLT trying to get off the mat here. That's up 31 cents at 88 even. And crude helping out some of these oil stocks up $1.29 at 73.11. These charts are brought to you by Trade Station, Born to Trade. Chart, analyze, customize, all in one platform. Dennis, let's bring Dennis on. And Dennis, do you have school today?
No, there's no school ever up here. We just have snow days every day. I know the whole world is worried about this ice storm. We got like a foot of snow last night. Nobody talks about us at all. It just, continues to happen. We're buried here. 3 out of 5 days, school buses weren't running. Schools remain open, so actually the kids are going today. But buses are not running. They missed too much school. You got to start just driving them in. So we get on the F-150. It powers through there. There's a Ford advertisement for you right there. That could be the sponsor of the show. F-150, snow, no problem at all.
That would be a huge fight in my household if it was officially a snow day and my parents tried to drive me to school.
Because you get 1 or 2 a year. So last year, we had 23 snow days up here. 23. They missed a whole month of school. So if you're not sending them on the snow days, they're missing a lot of education here. Like the teaching regular lessons sometimes. Not in grade 3, but my boy's in grade 6. I think some of it's a little bit that you're missing some regular lessons because what are they going to do? I mean, you got to have some of it, get some of the lessons in, and the other kids just got to play catch up here because it can't be 23 party days extra on top of however many party days they already have. So school's just a lot easier, I think, nowadays. I think it's like the kids don't come home with homework; they get it done. It seems easier than when we were kids, Joel. I know you had to, walk 10 miles on your bare feet to get to school. But, even me, it just seems easier now. Like, I'm like, don't you get homework? It's like, oh, I do it at school. I'm like, man, in grade 6, I had like an hour and a half of homework every night at least.
Quick tangent, and then we got to get to stocks, talking about school being more difficult. So my sister's 3 years older than me, and so she graduated Michigan just ahead of me, right? Or, I was only a sophomore, and we were walking out of her graduation from Michigan, from her undergrad, and I turned to my dad and I said, Dad, you don't know how much harder University of Michigan academics got since Elise graduated.
So university got harder.
Yeah. This is as we were walking out of her graduation. Okay.
Let's bring the Brentster in. Say hi to the Brentster too, because he's kicking around in the background.
Where is he?
Too. Is he getting ready for all the ice that's coming your way? Actually, I think in Michigan you're gonna be snow, aren't you? You're above the band. Correct?
It's gonna be like a little bit of snow. We're getting the polar vortex. I have literally three layers of pants on right now at my desk in my basement.
Yeah, 3 layers of pants. It's cold, and it's gonna continue to remain cold here. It's actually not that cold here. I think we're about 20 degrees Fahrenheit here right now.
That's nice.
But it's supposed to drop significantly. Apparently in Ontario, there's supposed to be spots that are going to go 50 below. I've never heard of that. Minus 50. I've never heard of that before. And that's minus 50, so you can say, oh, that's Celsius, Fahrenheit. Fun fact, where Celsius and Fahrenheit are the exact same temperature? Does anybody know? Don't go to Gemini or ChatGPT. Where is Celsius and Fahrenheit the exact same temperature? Because I know.
-10.
No.
Brats.
Wrong, Joel. You can guess. Can't look. I know it. Chat's already given it.
I have no idea. I was
It's
sick.
minus 40.
Minus
Minus
40.
40, they're both the same. So when
Let's
you're
never
minus
see that.
50, it's just bloody cold. You don't have to talk Fahrenheit, Celsius, or anything. It's crazy cold when
bloody
it's
cold.
minus 50. So that would be like, yeah, like, and I think that is actually in Celsius. So it's probably like minus 58
Wowza.
degrees Fahrenheit.
Wowza.
That's going to be someplace in Ontario. That'll be further north in Ontario. It's not going to be here, but they're saying 30 below here, though. So it's going to be crazy. So we will get to the ice storm trade here in a bit. You can see the rundown coming at you here, but we have to start with the Intel disaster. Intel running into the earnings. We talked about it having a high bar. It didn't matter.
Oh my
when it
gosh.
came out. We do have the numbers here, so we'll find those numbers for you. I don't know if Joel, if you have them in front of your friends, or you have them, the actual report.
Here we go. Earnings per share, 15 cents, a beat versus 8 cents. Sales also beating
Sounds good.
0.67 billion versus 13.4 billion. But the guidance, ladies and gentlemen, expecting Q1 earnings break even. Analysts were expecting up to 5 cents. Sales 11.7 to 12.7 billion. Analysts around 12.5 billion. So the guidance definitely was the guidance, if you ask me. And then Triple D, you were hearing about the call. I don't think you listened to the call, but
yeah, I didn't. But
you called it a disaster.
Yeah, it's not good. And we had Gene Munster on CNBC, and obviously Gene's a friend of our show as well. We was listening to that. Stocks trading down 6%. They asked Gene what he thought, and Gene said, let's just, just for calling, and he wasn't really parsing words. He's like, this is a meme stock, he called it.
That's what he called it.
He called it a meme stock and said basically nothing makes sense for it to be this high on valuation. He said the report was awful. I think he might have even used the word disaster. I can't remember which word he used. And he said the stock should be down 15%
I heard it.
on this report. The stock was down 6% when he said that, and it started falling. So he moved that stock last night because it was a big, when he called it a meme stock, it got people spooked. And then it's down 13% now. But then on the call, they went out and they were talking 2027, maybe looking up. They basically are writing 2026 off almost, it sounded like, on the call. So I don't know if you have any other commentary there you wanted to share from the call, Joel, but, with Gene obviously tied right in, listening to it all, calling it a disaster. I think he said disaster. A meme stock was the word. When he called it a meme stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the most bearish I've ever heard. Gene Munster.
He's never bearish.
He's never bearish.
No, he's eternally bullish on stocks. Like
That
he
was
always a silver lining, finding the reason, why this is good, why you want to be long the stock, which is right. I mean, stocks continue to go higher. That's the most bearish I've ever heard Gene Munster on a stock. And, if you don't know Gene Munster, he covered Apple, at Piper for years. He was the analyst, friends with Tim Cook, good friends. I mean, so he's connected. He knows stuff. When he's calling a company a meme stock, it's gonna move the stock price down. He is well followed, and it started tanking as soon as he said that.
That was the highest bar. I mean, even Dwight Stones couldn't have cleared that bar. I mean, that
Who's
bar.
Dwight Stone?
Yeah.
Is that a high jumper?
Dwight Stones is?
Is that an Olympic high jumper from?
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Good job,
Say no
Brentster. I
more.
had no idea.
Well, there was the Fosbury flop, right? The Fosbury flop. And then he converted it. And then, the Fosbury flop is when you used to go leg over leg. And then Dwight Stones was the one that went off the right foot and then arched and then kicked the legs up.
Changed everything. Changed the game.
Changed it. But holy mackerel. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. And I mean, that bar was so. What could they have done to justify? I mean, that bar,
I thought it would dip and then maybe.
Yeah, you said that. I should have yelled at you. Once
Gene said that, though, I'm like, I'm like, no, thank you. I'm backing off on this. And I know some people in the chat were talking about buying it. I believe Mary was short. Good job. She was talking about where to cover it, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm not going long, though. I'll tell you that. This was a 47.5 last night. It's continued to leak here, Joe. We're not far from.
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Not a lot of bouncing happening here. And I mean, you can't look at on valuation. They're not going to make money. They're predicting not to make money next quarter either. I mean, Gene said it too. Like, without the administration, without the Trump support of this stock, where is the stock? It's not $47. It's probably $27 for real. Like, this is all a Trump. Like, this is all Trump behind it. It's great to have Trump behind you. It's worth something. So we're not saying it's all fluff. Trump behind the stock is huge. You know, like, he may come out today and say, "Oh, Intel's a great buy. I'd be buying the dip," and the stock will bounce back. I mean, who knows what he's going to say? It was a meme. That was actually somebody had put a fake meme of Trump saying that out there, but it was fake. Something to think about, though. I mean, is the administration is still behind this company, so I don't think the Intel story is over. But I do think, like, short term, this is a tough move for the stock.
Let's just go into the expected move here. Brentster made a good point, and it was hanging in there. Like, the option guys were trying to defend it. They were trying to defend it. They were trying to keep it within the expected move. Like, we don't want to get smoked again on this.
Was it 4.5?
Yep. And then after hours starts to get, boom. Then the sellers just came in, and we'll see what happens.
And they said, "Oh yeah, we're looking at 2020." So they basically just were not talking about 2026 in anything good context. No. So that was hitting the stock as well. What happens, though, like, when you get through the expected move here, and obviously we get CC Legator later on in the Stock Trader Network, so we'll ask him some specifics on this as well. But you're going to get market makers caught. I mean, market makers are usually on the opposite side, the sellers of the options. When you start breaking down through the expected move, they've got to adjust positions, and they have to sell some stock to adjust those positions there. So once, usually you get defending at the expected move, but once you get through that, then there's some adjusting happening here. So that's what, you can have happen too, is when you get through those moves, it can get ugly. That's what we're seeing here today in Intel.
All right, I see a pair of lows at near 47. If that's what you feel like doing, go right ahead. The next daily low after that comes in just above $45 here, 45.22. But see what happens with that pre-market low. It looks like you have someone nibbling here. Maybe they're, long the 50 puts, or 49 puts, or 48 puts, or 47 puts are not quite in the money yet, but they'll get a little bit of juice in it. But
so NVIDIA and AMD were both trading down last night on the Intel report, but they have turned and went higher as China, being reported from Bloomberg, China tells tech firms that they can prep NVIDIA H200 orders here. This is turning NVIDIA around. NVIDIA actually having a pretty darn good morning here. You bring it up, trading up 1.25% on a day. We got a pretty good, overall. We had a good semi-wreck because of Intel. NVIDIA now bucking the trend, and AMD, which has been on a monster tear. Still long AMD and NVIDIA, my long-term portfolio. It's up 3% here right now. So this is impressive moves here off the backs of this China news. AMD, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago, kissed $200, $199.89, is now $261. So in 7 trading days, the stock is up 20%. This is a big move. You are coming to major resistance, though. That's your setup. That's your cue, Joel. Always on mute.
I know. It is coming. I mean, this is a big pop here. Not at the all-time high. I'm just going to look at these two pesky highs in AMD here. Over 260. I mean, that's a target area where you're trading 260, 71. For me, after being at $200 8, 9, 10 sessions ago, if your target was between 260 and 262, then you're getting an opportunity. All-time high was at 267.08, and the all-time closing high. If you want that all-time closing high mark on your statements from October 29th, 264.33.
I'm still holding all my AMD, no intentions to sell any of it out of my long-term account. Heard of earnings season. Next week, we have a pile of companies reporting, but it's really the kind of companies that are reporting here. Thanks to Michael for putting together this great graphic for us once again. Monday, we get Nucor and Steel Dynamics, so I guess it's Steel Day. Tuesday, we get UNH, Texas Instruments, Boeing. It's Wednesday and Thursday, though, that is going to move this market. We call this the heart of earnings season. On Wednesday night, we get Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla. On Thursday night, we get Apple, SanDisk, and Amazon. Wowzers. This is going to be an incredible 24 hours for the market here. And if you've been saying, oh, it's been the geopolitical situation driving the bus, I think next week we go full on to company fundamentals driving the bus because we're getting some big companies that report. We did get the oil giants on Friday with ExxonMobil and Chevron. But I mean, it's all about those 5 companies: Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, Apple, and Amazon. Decent day for Meta. Obviously, yesterday had a huge pop, bounce back. Tesla as well. Elon Musk was talking about selling humanoids at the end of next year. That got people excited as well. So those stocks had some pops. Microsoft is still in the gutter. Can't seem to find its way. Yes, it bounced a little bit yesterday with the overall market. The market had a pretty darn good day. But what do you think? Like, where do you want to go? Because the Mag 7 has been lagging here. Is this, the potential turnaround here as we start maybe running up ahead of these reports? Thoughts, concerns? Start with Microsoft. This one's been in the gutter.
Oh boy.
Joel has nothing to say. When he has
no,
nothing to say,
I mean, this
it's a tough chart. Death
you got
cross.
the death cross. I mean,
Yeah.
it's they kicked off the whole AI mania. Now they're being considered, being behind, and they're, software company. We know what software has done. I mean, this is ugly. I mean, if you're going long into the print, you might get a little alpha, and we could talk about this. Maybe a little pre-earnings run here, but holy mackerel! I mean, this thing gaps up. I mean, I think it's just there's so much overhead supply now, way down below the 50, way down below the 200. I mean, as we've said before, not much good happens below the 200-day moving average.
I mean, it's tough chart. Meta, the bounce back yesterday was nice to see. I'm long Meta. So of these in my long-term portfolio, I'm long Meta, Tesla, and Amazon. Those are the 3 of the 5 that I'm long. I haven't owned Microsoft in a very long time because of valuation. I haven't owned Apple in a very long time because of valuation. Apple, I just don't think has any growth, and I think it's a staple, so I think it's overvalued because of that. But the problem with Microsoft, again, is this software hate that the market has right now. SaaS stocks have just been murdered. We know we've talked relentlessly about Salesforce, ServiceNow. The list goes on and on. The software stocks have just been killed this year. Microsoft has been thrown into that. I don't know if it's fair or not, but they are thrown it into that bucket here as well because stock's off over 100 points in the last 2 months. I don't know if it's a buying opportunity. I think we got to wait for the call. Let's see what they say. Let's see how the business is doing. Obviously they've, got a lot of involvement with AI. So just to throw them out and say, yeah, a lot of their business is going to get disrupted by AI, I'm not sure it's fair either.
So want to give the expected moves here real quick. Dennis, you were saying that you'd like to wait maybe a little bit closer to the earnings report, but let's give them here real quick. We got a 5% move expected from Microsoft. We got a 6% move for Tesla, a 6% move for Meta, Apple, a 4% move, and SanDisk, a 15% move. I paused dramatically, but maybe that's not even surprising that many people. Triple D, how are you setting up for earnings next week as far as a trade goes overall?
Well, we do our earnings run up trades. I will probably put those on over the weekend with a little bit of hedge because you never know what Trumpster might say over the weekend. The hedge helped me last weekend, just hedging and being short, maybe some spies and cues against some of these positions here. But typically I start to look and start to buy stocks 3 to 5 days before they report. Why do stocks go up ahead of the report? Well, they don't always, but why do, if they go up, if 55% of them go up, you make money. Why is there tend to be that upward drift? We've given this before. One, people are excited about that. They're looking at these and saying, ooh, they're reporting next week. And they're like, oh, I want to buy those. They've dipped right now, and I think the earnings are going to be good. 2 is if you're short stocks on a technical basis, most short sellers don't like to hold stocks through earnings reports. So then they come into cover, and that puts upward pressure on it as well. So it's one of my most, the trades that I do the most is the earnings run-up trade, being long stocks ahead of reports and then selling them right before they report. So next week we get Nucor, Steel Dynamics. I'll probably look to those, because they are actually, I think Steel Dynamics in the morning. So it's a little tough to play on a Friday night because you don't have a regular session to get out of it. Again, Tuesday we have UNH and Texas Instruments and Boeing. Those are stocks I'll probably look to play for the run-up there. Maybe General Motors as well. And then Wednesday, there's just so many. Like we talk about the big 5, but then you start going down the list. I mean, Starbucks is on there, which caught an upgrade today from William Blair. IBM, ASML, ServiceNow. I mean, think about
a lot of stocks. Hey, Dennis, we have our guest in the background here.
Oh, we got Louis.
Yeah,
We got
Louis
Louis.
Sykes is patiently waiting in the background of
Let's do
Homie
it.
Charts. Let's do it. All right, it's our Crypto Corner segment brought to you by Hive Technologies. Louis Sykes in the house. Louis, how you doing today?
Uh-oh. Can you hear us? I don't know if you can hear us. He's going to the background. Brentster, I'll work with him for a second while he tries to figure it out. Wait, he's coming back. I'm going to move him to the background. Brentster, if you can figure it out, we'll just continue on our conversation here a little bit with Louis. He's just having a little bit of a mic trouble there. We always get excited for our crypto conversation. So we will hold the crypto conversation just for a second here. Take us back to these expected moves, Joel. Bring up SanDisk, though, because this is one we should talk about. I mean, we talked about the high bar in Intel. The SanDisk bar is high, but memory prices are so darn high as well that they're probably going to blow it away. So we look at SanDisk. It has went in 2026. This stock, we're going to bring it back up here. I'll bring up the charts for you here. But bring up the chart. Adding it to the stage. Fred's still working in the background. There we go. Look at the right chart. It is just gone, parabolic, like upside, just boom, out of here. But we started the year. This is crazy because the year just started 23 days ago. We had 15 trading days. We started the year at 237.38. Stock is now $500. It is doubled in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days. Stock has doubled. Micron, not quite as impressive, but pretty darn impressive too. Is up about 100 points or 33%. Boris, keep me honest on that math, please, because I'm doing the error math. But these have been incredible moves. The bar is through the ceiling on SanDisk. It's so high. The question is, are they going to get their pole out and pole vault over this bar? I'll ask Joel, and then we think we got Louis. We'll go to Louis in a second here, but I just want to finish the SanDisk thought here. I mean, the expected move is 15%. This is going to be, like we talk about the Thursday night reports, Apple, Amazon, but a lot of people are going to be watching this.
These are big reports. There's big, I'd be keeping an eye on the expected move. I mean, there are times when, I could look at charts and I could get a feel for it and, something hits me. Yesterday when this thing was selling off intraday, you're like, well, you could put a stop up here at the all-time high, if you want to short it. And I was just like, I don't know. I mean, I always advocate shorting, but I'm like, and then next thing, oh no, it's down 10. No, it's down 6. No, it's down 5. No, it's up 3. So it's out of control. I don't have a handle on this. If you're long going in, you've had targets up here, take it. If you're short, good luck. But we got Louis mic'd up here, ready to go?
Let's bring him on. We don't need that.
All right,
guys,
Louis,
how's
you
it
got the
going?
double intro. You got the double intro. A lot of pressure on you now, buddy.
Well, it's the first time I'm joining pre-market prep in the morning. So I'm actually back I'm in the United States, not in New Zealand. So it's a reasonable hour of the morning.
Where are you?
I'm currently in Miami. So we just had our portfolio accelerator event here at Stock Market Media. And then today there's another crypto conference hosted by Real Vision on the beach. So I'm looking forward to hearing what the mood is on the ground.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
All right.
So say hi to JC and the boys down there for us there. So we got to get some of these boys back on. Well, we got you here today, Louis, and let's talk crypto here. I want to ask you, because we've been trying to talk it, but this Bitcoin just keeps sitting down here near the lows. It's been 2 months just consolidating near the lows. I want to throw you under the bus right now and say, is Bitcoin consolidating to go higher or consolidating to go lower? Because it just seems to be hanging out here near the lows.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion. One thing I know is that we tried to break out of this base, and the breakout held for a day, and then it failed. And so if you're a bull, you're just going to say, hey, look, this thing needs to base for a little bit more. That's where I lean towards. But look, we need to see some more basing, because as you point out, the mood here in crypto, just at this event that I was just at, normally people are coming to me and they're saying, hey, Louis, what's the hottest crypto stock right now? What's the hottest shitcoin that you have? I didn't get that question once, because the mood is just really apathetic. No one really cares about this market because you've got gold all-time highs, hell, emerging markets all-time highs, international stock. Everything is working in this environment except for crypto. And so, look, I think we just need a little bit more basing. I think ultimately it's going to catch higher because it is a risk asset like anything else. And so we still are in a bull market. And one thing we know about bull markets is that leadership rotates, and that the areas that lag catch up to the areas that lead.
I've been also talking about Ethereum and how the Bitcoin and Ethereum chart are almost identical here. Like it seems like Bitcoin, as Ethereum starts going down, it's like the algos are just trading these in sync together here, because the charts from the last 3 months on Bitcoin and Ethereum, you've got them both up there right now, and on the time frame's the same, so it doesn't look the same. But Joel maybe could fix that. But I mean, the charts are identical here. Why is that? Like, why? There you go. You got the same time frame here. Is there this now crypto traders trading these things just together? Is it like algorithmic traders that are doing it? Why all of a sudden, like, is Ethereum and Bitcoin so tightly connected?
Yeah, and to answer that, you need to go back to October the 10th of 2025. What happened on October the 10th is we saw a massive crypto crash, and we saw a lot of market makers taking a whole bunch of heavy losses. And you have a look at liquidity. I'll read a lot of research from Coinbase Institutional, and they put out these great charts of just how deep the market is. And the market is still really recovering from that major crash back in October, where liquidity is still relatively dry. And so it makes sense that these things are just trading really weak. They're all trading together because they're all just waiting for liquidity to come back into the market. And so it's starting to happen now. I think in these next few months that, the market's going to get deeper, liquidity is going to deepen, and I think that's going to help Bitcoin and Ethereum put in these bases and to ultimately move higher.
Are there any cryptocurrencies that look good on the chart? Like, obviously I'm focused on Bitcoin, Ethereum, because I'm not looking at all these other coins. But Louis, like, is there any other stuff that's looking good, or is it all crypto winner across the board?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, people are really surprised to hear this because you have it a lot in crypto where these people are just perma-bulls. Regardless of what's happening, they're always bullish. They always have some bullish story to tell. That's not me. I don't really care. I just want to make money on these things. And if anything, I'm actually technically a perma-bear on crypto because, look, I think that 99% of the market is absolute junk, and I think it deserves to be trading at zero. And so, technically, this whole altcoin market has been in a bear market since 2021. And so what you need to do as a crypto investor and trader is you really need to separate the wheat from the chaff. And so I think a lot of these things are going to zero, but I think there's a handful of names that I really like, particularly when it comes to this whole tokenization trend. I'm not sure if you guys saw the major headline earlier this week, but I think it's probably going to be the biggest headline in crypto this entire year, and it's only January. And that is that the New York Stock Exchange has finally announced development on their tokenization platform. So what does this mean for the everyday person? It means that markets, ETFs, stocks, anything that trades through the New York Stock Exchange is moving to 24/7 trading. And the New York Stock Exchange has already announced the development of a platform where transactions are going to be settled on a centralized blockchain. And you just have these comments like at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and Larry Fink is over here pumping these cryptocurrencies. He's saying we need one unifying blockchain for global finance to move on. And so what I'm looking for now is what that blockchain is going to be, because everybody's saying, okay, well, what blockchain is the New York Stock Exchange using? What blockchain is the NASDAQ 100 going to be using? Let me tell you, it's not going to be Ethereum. It's not going to be Solana, because these blockchains aren't compliant for tokenization and for institutional use. And so I think the network they're going to be using is a network developed by a company called Digital Asset, and it's called Canton Network. So that's the name that I'm the most balled up on.
Say that again, because I've never heard of this. What is it called?
Canton Network. So the ticker is CC. So this has been a network that's been in development for the last 10 years, and these guys are already moving $6 trillion on behalf of financial institutions every month. And so this is the network that Wall Street is opting to use right now.
Is there like a token, like, so this network that you're saying, like, is there a token that like we look at for this? Is it called Canton, you said?
Yeah, so the ticker is CC, and so that's only come live.
I don't think we'll get that probably on our quotes because it's an altcoin, right?
Yeah, it's down under there. But yeah, like there's a lot of interest.
Do you have your charts, Louis? Do you have your charts handy? If you don't, that's okay. But
Yeah, I do. I always come prepared, guys. I've always got
yeah. Let's
charts.
bring it up. You can talk about this.
How's the time change?
Well, it's a little bit weird. I feel like a little bit disoriented, because everything is just
It's the middle of the night for you.
I know. All right.
It is hard.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right, can you
Sure.
guys see this?
We will in a second here. Not yet.
Oh, I'm trying to operate here from
It's
just
a little plus
I
at
know,
the bottom.
you probably got a little screen and you're used to being in your trade cave with all your screens and your bells and whistles and stuff.
It's
but
hard, yeah, when you're trying to do a podcast from a laptop, and then we make you share your screen here too. We don't see it yet.
I don't have it. I mean, perhaps I could share you guys the Google Slides, and maybe you.
Okay, why don't you send that over to Brent? I just want to ask you a question. You said that
sure.
you're not a permeable. You try and capitalize. Do you by capitalize when you do sell your position in Bitcoin and wait to buy it back, or do you actually try and short it? I mean, I know the futures exchanges are full margin. I know it's kind of complicated to do it. I mean, do you execute, try and trade on both sides of the market?
Yeah, I do. And the biggest thing for me is you need to do a whole lot more work in crypto. So you can't just really rely on the technicals. You need to do a little bit more work just reading what these things actually do. Because look, I trade Bitcoin, I trade Ethereum, but I mainly want to be trading these early stage opportunities where the risk versus reward is really in my favor, where I'm looking for 10x, these 20x opportunities that play out over a few years. And you got to think about it this way. In the stock market, these are real companies that are compliant, they're audited. So in some sense, you don't even really need to do this work. But in crypto, you could have some random dude sitting in his basement in Bulgaria launches a cryptocurrency. So you don't know what's behind that thing. So you need to do that work to understand what these technologies are. And so I do a lot of reading in this space. It's a lot of work, trust me.
And then also with the shorting, I mean, you kind of have unlimited risk, right? I mean, if you're short one of these things, but we do have your slides ready here, and
Sure.
we are looking forward to this here. So Brentster has them up; he'll pull them through. What do we look at, Louis?
Lunacy.
All right. So this can you put it in full screen? Can you go slideshow at the top right there? Put that in full screen. There we go. This is one of the charts that I shared at our portfolio accelerator.
Oh my
event.
gosh!
I always do this.
No, is this for real? There's 120 million tokens. Is this for real?
This is for real.
I had no idea there was that many. I thought there would be like 50,000, 100,000, maybe not 120 million. Oh my gosh!
I mean, look, most of these things are going to zero. They're probably already at zero, but this is just a really good example of, just to show to an extreme extent, just how much junk there is and how much you need to sort and filter out in this space. And so it just gives you a bit of context to what this market really is.
That's unbelievable. Like from 2019, like I can't, obviously 9 million shirts there to go to 120. Like we doubled last year. We went from 60 million to 120 million. Trump coin in there, Trump coin in the 120 million,
Trump coin,
Melania
coin. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's just an incredible slide in itself. I had no idea there was that many tokens there. That's scary. Like when you see stuff like that. And then sexy slide here, we got tokenization.
I have a question for you guys. Did you guys see the headline about the New York Stock Exchange and their tokenization? I'm curious.
Yes.
You did?
No, we did. It was out, and it was like somewhat confusing, but they said they wanted to go 24/5 on trading, which they're gonna do. I mean, Robinhood right now has the overnight trading. Interactive Brokers has the overnight trading. There's no way the NYSE and obviously NASDAQ and the other exchanges are going to sit back and watch all this volume happen overnight and not participate in it. So they're going to move to it, and that's what they're obviously talking about doing. The mechanics to it, I did not understand because I'm not a crypto guy like you. So if you could talk to us a little bit more about the mechanics on that whole thing, like it sounds like CC is going to be what you think, you're guessing, where the network could be. But, how long does it take to get something like this going?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and the way it's going to work is that the New York Stock Exchange has their engine to match buyers and sellers. That's not going to change. That's an incredible engine. But what is going to change is how these transactions finalize and settle. So once you place the trade is made. Where and how does it settle, and how are those records kept? How are those records kept? That part is going to be outsourced to a blockchain, because blockchains, if you're skeptical of crypto, you're skeptical of this whole, the crypto technology, the one thing you can't be skeptical about is that blockchains are an incredible way of managing data, and they're an incredible ledger. And so the fact that the New York Stock Exchange recognizes and the NASDAQ recognizes this is where these transactions are going to be settled.
Does it make you bullish, the New York Stock Exchange stock?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, BlackRock is really involved, and then a lot of banks like BNY, Citigroup. These are banks that have introduced some sort of crypto technology, because they have now tokenized deposits. So you can deposit into the bank, whether it's a stable coin, or other crypto, into their platform. And so, tokenization and stable coins, these are the really key areas that institutions are really paying attention to. But then all the other crap, you can just ignore. The meme coins and all these random blockchains that nobody's using, that's just all crap. But you just focus on the tiny slither that's actually going to have some real world application.
Let's move to this next slide, because I love the slideshow here. And let's jump into the next one here, tokenization. I like the British spelling there too, the tokenization. That's good too, because was New Zealand British?
Yeah, we're a British colony, and so we're still, every Christmas, actually, it's almost a bit of a tradition where it's 6 o'clock on Christmas. You sit down and you listen to the King's message.
Nice.
My mom would love you. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm actually half British myself as well. So absolutely.
So what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so what we're looking at is the amount of tokenized assets around the world. So they're currently sitting at about 35 billion. And we've seen some really early pilots. BlackRock has had a few US dollar yield funds on chain. We've got some gold funds on chain. We've got some money market instruments on chain, but it's just all really been experimental, and it's just a tiny market. It's only $35 billion. But this number is going to explode. The people that I talk to that are actually in the know just say, hey, Louis, just expect this number to get into the trillions in these next few years. And you just have a look at all of these other traditional markets outside of this tiny pocket. You're looking at gold, and it's not just stocks and bonds and public markets. We're also talking about real estate, where you can instantly transfer your ownership stake in land or anything else overnight, 24/7. And it just makes sense that this number is going to continue to grow, particularly as these institutions get involved.
What does it mean to tokenize something? Like, I hear this all the time, tokenize it. What is the actual process for tokenizing something?
Yeah, look, and so it's just taking your ownership share in an asset and it's putting it into the form of a token. Now, why would you want to do that? Because again, like I said, blockchains are an incredible ledger for data, right? You don't need to deal with 100 different systems around the world. You can just have one system, one blockchain that you can represent your ownership stake in any asset, and that ownership stake can be traded 24/7, can be traded instantly, and so it just makes sense. This is the next generation of financial markets where, I put out this post where tokenizing assets means that anybody around the world can have access to the best US companies and the best assets in the world. And so if that doesn't make you optimistic about the future, that anybody from Southeast Asia or from Africa can have access to US companies because they're traded on a blockchain and they can be settled instantly. If that doesn't make you optimistic about the future, I think you're probably just a grumpy bastard.
Tokenize the world. We tokenize everything. Sounds like fun.
So we're gonna learn something new here before we let Louis go, and it's a crypto term, DATS. DATS, and that kind of fits into your whole tokenization theme. Educate us, Louis.
A DAT. So DAT stands for a digital asset treasury, and so it's just a company that has got cryptocurrency on their balance sheet. So in other words, MicroStrategy and bitline immersion are an example of a DAT. And so,
Okay.
yeah, we've seen, you know, a lot of these DATs get repriced. This is a great chart from Coinbase, and so what we're looking at here is the average premium to net asset value of all of these different digital asset treasuries in the world. When this is trading at 1, it means that, for instance, if they own $10 million of Bitcoin, the company market cap is trading also at $10 million. But if it's got a DAT of 2, it means that if they own $10 million of Bitcoin, the market is valuing that at a 2x premium, so the market cap would be 20 million. Now, we saw this back in 2024. A lot of these companies were trading for a lot more than what they were worth. MicroStrategy was trading at 3.5 times
Oh
more
my
than they were.
gosh, it got that high.
But now, what we're seeing is a lot of these digital asset treasuries, whether they own Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, are now trading at really hefty discounts. And so investors are demanding a greater return. They are no longer paying the premiums that they were back in 2024. And so, again, it just comes back to what I said before in the conversation. We're seeing a lot of speculative air just coming out of this market, whether it's with all of these meme coins or whether it's with these digital asset treasuries, which have got no other reason to exist just beyond speculation.
Okay,
Wow.
Louis Sykes, Homie Charts, helping us out with the complicated crypto market. Always a pleasure to have you on, Louis. Safe travels, stay warm there, and we'll be down you up in a couple weeks. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on the show.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Louis.
All right, we're going to shift gears here a little bit, and we always are looking for catalysts, right?
Yeah.
And there's the hurricane trade, and then there's the ice storm trade, and we
There is.
have not Sonny Elliott. You guys probably don't know who Sonny Elliott is. He was a great weatherman in the Detroit area. But we have our own weather expert lurking in the background here.
Oh, there he is. He's ready. Our
Reporting from
meteorologist,
on
Brent
scene.
Slava.
Live on scene in Detroit, where there's no snow yet, but there will be. There will be.
There will be snow. I was
So
watching a lot of reports here yesterday, Brentster, on this ice storm, and it's supposed
Yeah.
to be maybe one of the worst in like decades.
Ever.
Ever?
Maybe.
Is it gonna be ever?
Yes.
So the ban of ice, and here it is, our meteorologist Brent Slava, thank you very much. All that pink is the ice area, correct?
The pink is, so these are our warnings, and look at the breadth of the warnings, literally from Arizona up into Maine. You were saying yesterday, Dennis, there's like 33 states that have warnings. The pink is a winter storm warning. The dark blue is an extreme cold warning.
Okay.
So let's go over to the National Weather site, because this site is awesome. This is like a nice little like how do you do on using the National Weather site anyway. So
Yeah,
let me
let's
pull it
do
up here, and I'll take you through a little bit of a forecast, and then we'll get into some of the trades here that
Yeah.
we've already been talking about here this week. Okay, so here's our ice accumulation. Because there's nothing we're looking at today.
Pretty calm
This is
so far.
Yep, pretty calm so far. So I'm just going to scroll through here. And this is ice accumulating over an hour. And the band is what I want you to focus on here. And now we're starting to get into like, Arkansas, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama. We're getting a lot of ice accumulation. And the concern here, even down into Atlanta here, as you can see, going into Sunday and Monday. And the concern here, of course, is that these places don't get ice a ton. So like this is going to be starting in the plains, northern Texas, Oklahoma around 1 p.m. today. By midnight tonight, that's going to be spreading into like Arkansas. There's going to be heavy freezing rain starting Sunday morning in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. By noon on Saturday, there's going to be like a band of moisture coming up from the south that is going to add to this storm going into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and next week. By Saturday night, we're going to be getting freezing rain in the Carolinas, maybe even northern Georgia, freezing rain in all of northern Texas and Arkansas by Sunday. 1 inch of ice accumulation all over the South over this weekend, heading into next week. So that's kind of our main concern, though. Let's click over to our snow real quick.
Sure.
And it is the total new snow. Let's do the
And-
72 hours here. So I'm going to back it up here. And
Yeah.
so ice is our first concern, but then we're going to start getting into snow. And these are inches accumulation. You can see it starts popping off in the plains here. We're getting 3, 4, 5 inches of snow. You see even in northern Oklahoma, 8 inches of snow there. And this
They
is
don't even
by
know
like
what to do with it down
Saturday.
there. Yeah.
No idea. Yeah, their
Yeah.
infrastructure is totally unprepared for this. You
Yeah.
know, like appropriately so. I'm not, dogging on the South or anything, but they don't have this kind of weather very often.
Yes.
Getting into Sunday and Sunday evening here, this is where the snow is going to be kind of going through Tennessee and Kentucky, going toward West Virginia and Virginia, going up into DC and Jersey. And then by like Monday, we're going to be getting, look at this, going toward Pennsylvania, 13 inches of snow accumulated by like Sunday evening. Monday, we're clicking through here. We're moving the scale. 15 inches of snow in Pennsylvania. This is when New York City and New York is going to start getting hit. This is going to be going up into the New England and the East Coast, the Northeast by like Monday and Tuesday. And then one more here. Let's click to our weather. So I'm going to hit the minimum temperature here, and I'm going to back it up. And what I just said about the ice and the freezing rain and the snow is all kind of like enveloped by this extreme cold that we're going to be getting. And so we're looking at today here. I'm going to click us through. This is minimum temperatures. We're looking at minimum temperatures in the single digits, in the negatives, in the plains, and that's going to be rolling across the United States. And you can see, Tennessee, Kentucky, 0. You can see Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina in the single digits. Into next Tuesday. What do you guys think there? Brent Slava, the meteorologist.
You did a fantastic job. So, if you don't have a career here doing news analysis for stocks, you got a career as a meteorologist, Brentster. That was fantastic. So many thoughts here. I mean, this is going to be an epic storm. Do we see, like we always prepare for the hurricane trade, I think you prepare in a similar way as from a stock trading portfolio for the ice storm trade. So we have seen Generac bring that up. I am long Generac, full disclosure. I will be selling it sometime into this because I just bought it for this trade. I bought it yesterday afternoon when it dipped there yesterday afternoon.
I saw you bought
GNRC.
the dip.
Yeah, a couple days ago, but it's been running for a couple days. But a little bit of the previous days runs probably due with the S&P as well. We've had a pretty good pop off the lows, so that was helping it too. But we're seeing, it up here a little bit this morning as well. You also think like Home Depots and Lowe's. I've got a little bit of calls on LOW there. Just full disclosure, which, you're looking to get out of, obviously, as well into any pop. But, insurance companies you can think about. We know natural gas, because it's going to be extreme cold. UNG has really been moving a lot higher. Natural gas stocks, there's like the big 5, LNG, EQT. I do have a position in EQT, EXE, AR, RRC. All, could benefit if obviously natural gas prices move higher as well here. And then the insurance companies too, you got to think about, where you have like your classics, like your AIGs and your Travelers, but, in all states, but more so it's if it gets really ugly, and let's just say the ice storm does a lot of damage, because ice, when it's accreting on things, can actually down trees. So if you start seeing trees going down on buildings or doing stuff like that, that's where you start getting into like the Home Depot Lowe's trade. Yeah. That's where you could also start getting into the reinsurers, because they're, if there's a damage, and if it gets up into the billions of dollars, which we're not saying it's going to, but we don't know that it's not either. The reinsurers, the big 3 are RGA, RNR, and EG. What a reinsurance company does is it insures the insurers. That's why they're called the reinsurers there. And on bad hurricanes, those get hit as well. I'm not seeing really much movement on these things yet.
Is there an ETF for that, Dennis?
Reinsurers? Not that I know of. Not that's liquid.
Okay.
That's the one thing. There's an ETF for everything, Joel, but is it liquid? Because you can get in some of these ETFs and they have no volume and you can't get in and out of them easily. So you got to be careful when you just grab any ETFs.
Okay.
But I mean, you're thinking about all these things, these different types of trades. Generac's the one that everybody kind of thinks
That's
about.
what they go to.
Powers are going out. That's the one we think about the hurricane. It's like the more pure play for, when you're going to have massive power outages. So we'll see if Generac gets some life here. Again, I have this on for a short-term trade, the ice storm catalyst, so I'll be looking to get out of it. Possibly today, possibly Monday. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah, we had some nice setup by Chris Brecher the other day too. Brent, going to your forecast, did I see something about New York City maybe getting 16 inches? of
Yeah,
snow.
so it's like, by Monday, Tuesday, like I think the like zooming out for a sec, I think the timeline is a little maybe later in the weekend. Like Sunday, like Sunday morning, we really aren't gonna know how awful this storm is, but like getting into Sunday night, we are, and then Monday and Tuesday when the snow starts hitting into the East Coast and up into New York, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of snow up there, Joel, for sure.
So
I'll tell you, the worst ice is ice you can't control. I mean, ice,
the ice is worse than the snow.
the most dangerous thing is you get the ice, and then you get the snow on
Snow on
top of
top.
it.
I know.
Then, I mean, even the plowing doesn't, do you any good. So,
But the ice
hopefully,
storms, so it's not even so much concern about like like how are you going to travel and what happens is, and I went through a terrible ice storm up here. I believe it was the end of March, early April, Georgian Bay. There
Yeah.
was millions of trees down. Not a joke. That's not an exaggeration. Over millions of trees were down throughout this whole huge band. Because what happened was the ice started to accrete on the trees, and then it gets so much, it can handle so much, and as it gets thicker, it downs the
Yeah.
trees. And especially, some of these trees down south, I don't know how strong, these things aren't
You're not used
experienced.
to
Not that our trees are, but our trees get, they're covered with ice and snow right now. So, I mean, some of the weaker ones go down for sure. So it's about like smaller trees, weak and they can break. So then those go down, they hit power lines, and then they
Yeah.
knock down. We had a power outage when we had our ice storm up here, and they're really good at it up here. Like, we know how to handle it. It was 3 days before our power was really restored to the whole
Remember that.
area for the most part. But there were certain pockets, like rural communities, that were out for 2 weeks because you just can't get to those ones. So they get the big ones online. So the problems is the trees going down from the ice and the snow, hitting the power lines, and then now you've got mass outages, and now everybody's wishing they had a generator. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's why you think about Generac as kind of the pure play for this. Not even maybe before, but after, because think about it.
Yeah,
You went
next
through this,
quarter.
you're like, well, I don't want to go through it again and go buy a generator. So
And as that snow on like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is going into the Northeast, it's going to be getting warmer in the South. So after we have that ice coming through the middle of the nation, we're going to get rain like toward the beginning of next week. And then like after, and so the setup here is we've had all this extreme weather and then we get a bunch of rain in the South. That could be a concern. And then like next weekend, like not this weekend, next weekend, there's potential for another storm coming through up from the south. So it's probably going to be like a long couple weeks here in the winter. This might be kind of like the crux of our winter over the next week or two here in the United States, folks.
And this accretion, is unknown. So we don't know how much it's going to happen. Obviously, maybe it's going to be less. But I want to send you a couple pictures here, Brentster. I'll just show you
Okay.
some of the pictures of our ice storm from last year. And it was, I got the date on it. It was March 30th here. But some of these pictures are incredible. Here's a video here. I'm going to send this to you, Brentster, and you can show this just to give you an idea. And I don't think it's going to be like this. This was an epic storm for us here, but I don't know it's not either. So I just texted you this. Do you want me to email to you to get it on the screen? What's the
Yeah,
easiest way?
email. Yeah, sorry, email would have been best. I should have
Okay,
told
I'm
you.
going to try to email it to you right now because I just want to show this on the screen here. Actually, crap. Let me that's a video. I just got some pictures here too. Sorry, we were just thinking about this live here, so I'm just trying to like grab. Yeah, I'm going to email it to you there, Brentster, too. Hang
Okay,
on.
thank you.
Joel, talk for a second while I do
All right.
this.
Yeah. Just Intel. I'm just gonna do a quick Intel update here. People are saying, "Oh, where do I cover?" I have no idea. But what we can use for a parameter is the pre-market low. Right now, there's been some buying interest between 46.51 and 47. That's where the patient buyers are right now. Could it be one of those occasions where you pull a Netflix, like to just different companies, but Netflix, we can go longer term on the pre-market chart. This is the chart on the left. You never saw the levels from the pre-market trading here. Coming back on the upside, if you're trying to do a dip buy here, perhaps the bottom range of the expected move could act as resistance, but that's what's shaping up here in Intel. As far as the overall market goes, we were doing fine and dandy. We were getting up near the lower end of last week's range. We were up there. We were looking perky, trying to go green for the week, and Something happened at 2 in the morning when I was sleeping. 1, 2 in the morning. There's your catalyst for the Dow coming on the lows of the pre-market session here. So we got a few minutes left
I
here.
emailed it to your Gmail account.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to pull it up right now. Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, just a picture of it here. So just to give you
Okay.
an idea of like the damages, this was my street. This was actually on my street. There was so many trees down. Like on my property, I had 3 huge limbs down. But just to give you an idea, maybe it's not the best image there. There you can see if you zoom in. But I mean, this is just, the lines down. You can clearly see this was right on my street. So, just trees were just down everywhere here. Like this can happen during an ice storm. So you could just have like, trees dropping everywhere. And then when you get, and I have a friend that works for Hydro. When you get, a storm, they go up. But when you have like millions of trees down, all the lines are down. They're like, they were just working 16-hour shifts for a month straight trying to get it back up. It was crazy. So again, we don't know how bad this is going to be, but just letting you know, like this is, a big deal when you start getting into the ice.
And of course, we hope, it's going to be, not as crazy as we're expecting. And then maybe there will be a little bit of a sell-off in some of these names a little bit later.
Sometimes that, and Chris is saying that too. You can get the run up into the event, then the event. So the hurricane trade, we've known, often, it runs up into the event and then the hurricane's not as bad as we thought and then it sells off after. That can totally happen here too. So it's not a slam dunk that Generac and all these other stocks are going to be up on Monday. If it comes through and it's not as bad as feared, then the insurance companies rally and the other trade goes the other way. So, being long ahead of it is usually more of the play. And Generac has had a run already here. So we have to consider that as well.
All right, let's go to our rating. The rating segment brought to you by Fly.
Here we are, The Fly, proud sponsor of our show. The fastest breaking stock market news.
Applied Materials, probably one of the ratings of the day here, catches an upgrade from Deutsche Bank. It is trading down with Intel, though, so it's actually not trading up here. Also, I'm just going to fly through a few of them here. We got Procter & Gamble catching an upgrade from JP Morgan. That's trading higher. That's after its earnings report, so those usually aren't as influential either. The big one that for me, which is interesting, we were talking about this last night when it broke, was Spotify. Spotify is catching an upgrade to buy at Goldman Sachs. And if you have the color for this one, Brent,
sure.
I'd be curious to hear what Goldman has to say. Because here's a stock, a completely contrarian call, stock that's been in the gutter. $740 3.5 months ago is now $498. Goldman's trying to call a bottom on Spotify. Let's see what it's all about.
All right, I am pulling up the Fly here. We're going to get a little preview into the Fly platform. They have a new Pro platform. You are looking into it right here, right now, folks. Nice, simple, easy, works well, works fast, good info, great ratings coverage. You can see they had the headline here last night at 4:15 p.m. Eastern time. This is pretty much right when this upgrade hit Spotify shares. A little color here also, thanks to the Fly. The firm sees a more compelling risk reward for the shares into Spotify's Q4 report following the recent sell-off. The company is well positioned to benefit longer term for steady premium subscription price increases, the introduction of new premium pricing tiers, and monthly active user growth. Goldman sees Spotify's ad sales growth accelerating in 2026 and beyond. The company's long-term secular growth themes are underappreciated at current levels, according to Goldman Sachs.
This one, just because it's been in the gutter here, Joel, contrarian call. I love the contrarian calls. Not that I agree with it, but just because it's bold. It's a bold call. It's not like Procter & Gamble chasing a rating after it was up here. I mean, it's a bold call, and they're trying to call a bottom. Those are always fun. What are your thoughts, Mr. Elconin?
You got some level. I mean, your initial spike took it over 510 here. Took it up to, let's see where the initial spike when that rating came out. Took it to 511. And just for the purposes of today, of course, you want to see how it reacts off the open. But you got a couple highs just right here, not too long ago. So that's going to act as perhaps potential resistance. If I wouldn't want to just like short this thing. I mean, it's Goldman Sachs. This thing has just been so much in the gutter here. So sometimes, you're apt to fade these kind of things. But to me, I want to see what happens. Two highs just above this, 512.11 and just under 515. So there's some more targets, but we got to take out that pre-market high. First things first.
Also, Starbucks, which is another kind of contrarian call, though it's been moving here now, so it's a little late on the contrarian side because it's been running. Catching an upgrade from William Blair. That one's interesting. Is there a turnaround story here for Starbucks? I mean, this stock has been in the gutter here for a while too, but it has started to show life here in 2026. Maybe it's the laggard to leader trade here happening as well. What are your thoughts on SBUX?
Oh well, you said it's been in the gutter, and I mean, it's had a heck of a rally here. I mean, we'll see what happens. 98 has been a pesky level going back over the last couple days. Just going into yesterday. Let's just see what happens if, in fact, it can get to yesterday's high, 97.80. That's what I've been looking for. Very important for it to get up there.
And then DRI, which we did not mention here this morning either. Darden Restaurants catching an upgrade from Mizuho here. That stock's trading up a couple of bucks here too. There's been restaurant stocks that have actually underperformed here like tremendously. You think about the Chipotle's and stuff. DRI is not one of those. DRI has been running and running and running. And I mean, this has just been, you think about where we were, we had $26 back in the COVID crisis. This thing's up 1,000% from those lows.
Easy peasy on this one. Pair of highs last two sessions, right at the 209.30 area. I don't know who bought this over 214, over 213, over 212, over 211. I don't know if that was just an odd lot or something, but you got a pair of highs to contend with after a rough 3 days in Darden Restaurants.
All right, I want to say thanks one more time to our sponsor, The Fly. Rating the Ratings brought to you by The Fly, your source for over 1,000 breaking news articles daily, delivered in real time with custom filters. Discover their new Fly Pro platform with AI-powered company analysis, unique KPIs, charts. For deeper insights, scan the QR code in the bottom right. There's also a link in the description of this YouTube video. Thanks again to The Fly.
So just finishing up, summary for this show. Obviously, Intel's a driver. NVIDIA and AMD bucking the trend here because of the news from China there. And then it's going to be talked a lot about today as the ice storm trade. What happens? Is it, as bad as feared? We got one more image to show you because it's a better picture I just found on my phone from March 30th here. I mean, this is, incredible here when you can look at the accumulation here as the picture here. This is like, all these trees bending over because of the weight of the ice. Now, again, we don't know if this is going to happen down there. Maybe you won't get as much accretion, and then this won't happen to the trees. But if you start getting the accretion on the trees, they start bending over and they start breaking, and then lines start going down, and then you have a hell of a mess. So crazy. That was the worst ice storm that I've ever seen. Hoping that doesn't happen to anybody this weekend.
All right, everyone, be safe out there. Thanks for joining us here on a volatile week here on Pre-Market Prep.